Welcome to Rights and Rhymes, where I'll be showing you how to treat your talent like a business. Let's get into it. Today we look into how are sync deals supposed to be structured and how are the most common ones are structured. There's two approaches to this. Firstly, the client itself, let's say Drink One, will approach a label or composers directly to get music that they want to consider for their sync. The second one is when the client approach the agencies who then approach music libraries and composers. What is a sync? A sync is when an audio or music or sound is used with images to create one final product which will be consumed and used as one. That is what's primarily a sync is. Two things that you need to consider is either a client will commission you to create a new song or a new work for their sync deal or campaign, it depends, or they will license a commercially released work that is already out there. Now, commissioning to create a new song gets to be a bit more cheaper, not cheaper, but less expensive. And licensing a commercially released song that is already out there is not as cheap, because the value of that song is measured on the footprint and success or failure of that work. The more the success, the more and the higher the fee. When it comes to commissioning, the client will own the sound recording, depending on the deal, of course, because they will be paying you to create a specific song or work for them to be able to use in their sync project or campaign. The client usually use the song as they please because in their commissioning of the work, they look into a long-term service of that work because they want value for the money that they spend on the work. Where the client chooses to license a commercially available and commercially released song, that comes with its own pros and cons. Which are the two rights that are attached to a sync? There is a copyright in the sound recording. There is a copyright in the composition, which we normally call publishing, which then means the sound recording will have its own life and the composition will have its own life. Those are two separate rights which will create a song that will then be meshed with the visuals to create a sync. An important thing to consider here also is getting the value right. The value for the client and the value for the music maker / composer / performer. How do you then measure the value in a sync? You look into various important provisions in your deal with them. Firstly, you need to check the territory. How far will the project go? How far will the sync be publicly performed? Or how far will the sync be used by the client? That's territory. Secondly, you look into the term. How long are they looking to use your song? Short-term sync deals are usually for ads, because ads will run for a specific term. But for films and television, most clients will prefer to get your song in perpetuity for the films because they cannot edit your song out as and when they use their film or their television show. Another important thing to look into is the platforms. The platforms are key, and the mediums. Is this going to be on social media? Is this a TVC, what we call a TV commercial? Or what platform are they going to use the song or the work on? Very key, so that you guys can be clear before you sign the agreement. The mediums and formats. Will the song be used with moving visuals, or will the song be used with stills? Or the song will be used with moving visuals and stills combined. Back to the territory, there's an issue where some clients are open to geolocking the work in a specific territory. Gets to be complicated because in this day and age, in this digital world, the works are usually on the internet, and if it's on the internet, it means it is global half the time. Another important thing to look into is the song going to be used with paid media or organic posts. If the posts are being paid for, then it affects the fee. If it's just organic, the fees will be based on other elements of the deal. For a game, digital only or physical copies are also going to be printed. You have to consider that. As we get into the real business now, the money. How is this thing paid for? We have what we call MFN, which is most favored nations, which simply means if you pay $50,000 for the sound recording / master, you have to pay the same amount for the composition and the publishing part. When the money comes in, the composers will split the fee for the composition, and the label will then receive a check for the sound recording and pay the composers according to the recording deal that they have with the composers. There's also an important element for you to consider when you make this deal. Is your song or work going to be in context or out of context? If it's in context, this simply means your song is going to be used in a specific scene. If it's out of context, it simply means your song will be placed differently. For example, in a promo of the same sync project. As I've explained, you get 2 checks, 1 check for the sound recording, 1 check for the composition. And in this instance, no party from the sound recording can sign on behalf of the composers from the composition side. No composer can sign on behalf of the sound recording side. All parties have to be involved when settling a sync deal, and should that part be skipped, there can be legal consequences and breach of various rights and infringements of copyright. Final word and advice on this: always make sure the deal is in MFN, most favored nations. I did explain, to avoid others being paid more while you think your guys are being paid equal. Always make sure the MFN clause is in there. Always have instrumentals of your songs for pitches and to pitch the song. Always have TV and broadcast friendly versions of your work if you're going to hunt for the work. And how do clients really get to find people and composers and music to place? Well, they approach libraries to give them a scope of the type of songs they're looking for at a particular point, and the libraries will then give them a pack of songs if they have not already identified a specific song that they're looking for as a client. Based on that mood or brief or scope, the library will then submit songs that speaks to the brief and the scope. There are those who are fortunate enough for the clients to contact them directly to get the songs from them. If you are one of those people, lucky you, because the client comes straight to you, you cut off the middleman in the deal. Alternatively, the client will approach the agency and the agency will then find these libraries or composers and make the deal go through. I hope this one helps. If you have any questions or you want me to cover a specific topic related to the music business or films, leave your comment and I'll make sure that we cover that topic in the series. If you like the content, like, subscribe, and click the notification bell so that you don't miss any other new videos that I'll be putting out for you. This is Rights and Rhymes. I'm out. And remember, if you want a personal consultation, the details are below. You can email us and book a session with us, and we'll get back to you and confirm your booking, and we proceed from there. If you want more advice on music business, we are here for you.